guest unveiled a collection of mountaineering equipment.
We could do a whole program on him.
It was owned by his grandfather, Theodore Howard Somerville, a renowned mountaineer. The appraiser discussed the terrific participation of Somerville in the 1922 and 1924 British Everest expeditions. Among the items was a photograph captured at 27,000 feet during the 1924 expedition. The appraiser scrutinized the collection, observing climbing gear from the 1920s, goggles, and an Olympic gold medal won by Somerville's group. Additionally, they admired Somerville's artistic talents, noting his paintings depicting mountaineering scenes. Somerville was considered a polymath with various interests, including climbing. The guest expressed gratitude for the appraised value of the incredible collection.
£70,000?
Wow.
Guest brings in a bunch of Hindenburg artifacts inherited from his naval officer father. The Hindenburg artifacts are from the crash that occurred on May 6, 1937. The owner's father valued these items because he collected them during the crash, saved his life, and helped others. The owner's father received personal commendations from the governor of New Jersey, the government of Germany, and the U.S. Navy Department. Surviving crew members also signed a picture of the Hindenburg as a token of appreciation.
The whole body of the Hindenburg was covered in a special material.
Right, the skin, yes.
Here is a piece of the burnt flag of Hindenburg as well. It is one of the best collections of Hindenburg artifacts. Estimated value of the complete collection would be $10,000 to $25,000.
Great to start with,
Yeah.
but I'm surprised. I really had no idea, but it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I don't know if that's what you were expecting.
The guest presented her mother's bracelet, a family heirloom specifically designed by the renowned jeweler David Webb, one of the most influential names in American jewelry.
It was actually known for making jewelry for clients with stones, so that's not unusual.
These bracelets, made in the 1960s,
When you put them together, they almost look like a snake, and they are really chic.
feature a gold texture with diamond stones embedded in platinum. Although there are many fakes on the market today, an authentic bracelet like this, which can also be worn as a necklace, at auction would have a price of
$20,000 to $30,000. Oh, wow. So I don't know if that's what you were expecting.
Well, today we have a mind-blowing space artifact on our hands. The guest had acquired what seemed to be an A711 Apollo suit, a significant piece of space history, from a parking lot sale for a mere $100, held by ILC, the manufacturer. Originally purchased out of admiration for the space program and the guest's profession as an earth science teacher. The suit gained further significance as a teaching aid and a source of joy for children at Super Science Days events.
This isn't the actual entire spacesuit. The spacesuit is made up of several layers. This is the outer layer and the most iconic layer.
If you examine the interior, you'll find all the components used in constructing this suit. Despite the guest's initial purchase for personal reasons, its significant appraisal value highlighted its rarity and historical significance, with an estimated auction value between $15,000 to $20,000.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Wow.
This exquisite diamond necklace by Howard & Company was brought to the show by our guest. It was entrusted to her family by Nellie Bonaparte before being passed to the guest's mother. Manufactured around 1895, it is a convertible necklace.
Turn this over. We're going to see the shepherd's hook on the reverse. I've never even heard of a shepherd's hook. Well, it's a jewelry attachment that comes up behind the jewel. Okay.
Designed in the early Edwardian style with European cut diamonds.
The diamonds are all old European cut diamonds.
This piece features platinum-topped gold surrounding the diamonds with a total weight of 20 carats. While not marked by Howard & Co., the necklace attribution to Nellie Bonaparte, along with its original box, adds value. The appraiser values this necklace at around $35,000 to $40,000.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Wow. Great.
The guest brought the bracelet, hoping it was a real Cartier Snow White bracelet made for Disney when the movie was produced. She recounted how she and her partner saw the bracelet in an estate jewelry shop window, and within 24 hours, her partner had called the store to purchase it for her. They bought the bracelet in 2012 for a little more than $3,200. The appraiser explained that the Cartier bracelet was part of a large line of promotional items produced for the movie and was considered top of the line, with very few made. All licensed pieces were inscribed with Cartier, WDENT. However, the appraiser revealed that the guest bracelet was not one of those rare pieces. Despite this, she noted that it was an excellent piece of jewelry and valued it on its own merits at approximately.
I would give it a retail valuation on its own merits of approximately $2,000. Okay.
This Explorer guitar is a dream come true for musical antique collectors because, despite being vintage, it still holds its quality and longevity. What's special about this guitar is that it's a limited edition Gibson Explorer guitar.
The original Explorers were made in 1958 and 59, and they were kind of a dud. They were made out of Carina wood,
which means it's rare. The guitar is made from mahogany wood, which is a special kind of hardwood. The guitar is also equipped with goldware, which enhances its appeal. As a rare collection, this 76 Explorer guitar would auction at
$3,000 to $4,000-ish range.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
The guests brought in their third great-grandfather's Civil War belt and 2 pouches that were attached to it. The belt buckle bears his initials, adding a personal touch to the item. The pouches were used to hold percussion caps, necessary for firing guns like pistols, carbines, or muskets. The belt and pouches are from the 206th Pennsylvania Regiment, mustered in Pittsburgh, with 1 pouch likely a souvenir from the Confederate side, made of lead and pigskin. The appraiser notes that the belt, without name, usually sells for around $300, but with the name and association, it could fetch up to $600. The Union cap box is valued at around $150, but the Confederate one is rare. It could sell for about $1,000 due to its condition and rarity.
Amazing. Okay, great.
The guest acquired this beautiful item at auction, believing it to be jade, but its authenticity was never confirmed. According to the Roadshow's appraiser, the item originates from China, and it features a unique bowl-like shape with 3 supports adorned with stylized lion mask heads. Despite lacking a mark, the craftsmanship and stone composition were evident, with a pale green hue suggesting a possible origin in the 18th or early 20th century. The shape of this object is also intriguing, featuring a sloping side and thin, finely cut rim reminiscent of 18th to early 20th century styles. It's valued at $15,000 to $20,000 and has a potential to reach $50,000 to $80,000 if dated to the Jiaqing period, 1796 to 1820.
That is incredible.
Whoa. Wow, it surprises me. I didn't have any idea.
This guest stumbled upon these drawings in the attic of his new home.
I moved into a house in Orange back in 1970, and the lady who sold me the house had these up in the attic.
They are the construction plans for Disneyland. The guest presented 2 of the 15 drawings he acquired. These drawings depict plans for many famous Disneyland scenes, including the booths, building elevations, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and more. The drawings are from Fantasyland and date back to the early 1950s. They are reproductions of the original building elevation drawings, painted to guide construction workers. Vintage Disneyland artifacts like these drawings are highly sought after by collectors, giving them an auction value of about
$3,000 and $5,000 a piece.
Whoa. Wow, it surprises me. I didn't have any idea.
Oh my word, I just can't believe it.
A guest brought beautiful necklace and her great-grandmother's portrait to the show. It was Louis Tiffany necklace, which she inherited from her great-grandmother. Louis Tiffany necklaces embody the Art Nouveau style with natural motifs. It was dated to be between 1900 and 1908. Vibrant colors, often from gemstones and iridescent glass, are a hallmark of Tiffany's designs. Crafted with meticulous attention to detail, the first lines and the wirework. At the center was expensive black opal. Tiffany's innovative techniques in glassmaking and jewelry design sets this piece apart. The appraiser values it from 3 viewpoints.
As a wonderful piece of historic jewelry, it would be $8,000 to $10,000. A Tiffany piece would be priced at $15,000 to $20,000. Auction estimate on a piece like this can go as high as $30,000 to $40,000.
Oh my word, I just can't believe it.
A look at today's piece might have one wondering what it is. It's actually a very portable music box. The music box is a Swiss-made piece that was crafted circa 1900 and was made using gilt brass. When a button is pressed by the side of this piece, a bird pops up and starts singing a tune. A unique music box with marvelous designs at auction would be valued at
about $1,000 or $1,200.
From one of the greatest writers of the Elizabethan era down to the hands of her great-grandfather, who brought it being an antique dealer. This first folio of William Shakespeare contains some of his most famous works. The piece underwent a rebinding in the late 18th or early 1900s, having some missing pieces, but it still has 2 complete pieces, having an enormous value in themselves. And how would these complete pieces be evaluated?
The individual plays that are complete have gone up tremendously. They're probably worth $10,000, $15,000 each.
Wow.
What about the around 160, 170 individual pages?
That might be close to another $10,000, $15,000.
And now to the final appraisal.
This book, as it is probably retail a $40,000 to $50,000 book, which has gone up a lot since 1990.
Yes, it has.
Today's episode involves going on a trip to the famous Salisbury House in Iowa. In the Salisbury House, there are a lot of interesting books, but of particular interest is an extra illustrated biography of Charles Dickens. Dickens was an English novelist who is often regarded as the greatest novelist of the Victorian era. These illustrations were done by a very good friend of Dickens called John Forster.
An extra illustrated edition is any book into which additional material is inserted, whether that's printed or handwritten.
As with extra illustrated works, this item has inputs from a variety of people, and as such, now has expanded to become 9 tomes worth of material. Another wonderful thing about this piece is that it includes 9 volumes. A piece like this, with all the history included not only about Dickens himself, but also the great people he came across, would be worth
like 80 to 120,000 with the expectation.
It kind of floors me. I didn't realize it would be that much.
This man received a painting from his wife's aunt, who lived in New Jersey, and inherited it from her husband. The painting is created by Lynn Bogue Hunt, an illustrator known for his work on book illustrations, duck stamps, and magazine covers, including Field and Stream. The painting, dated January 1942, features an English setter and an English pointer with bow-white quail. The artwork's condition was praiseworthy, even the medium oil on canvas, and its significance as a Field and Stream cover. The estimated value for the painting was astounding, considering its desirability and the artist's reputation.
I tried to be conservative when we estimate things for auctions, but I would estimate it as $20,000 to $30,000.
Wow. It kind of floors me. I didn't realize it would be that much.
This guest brought a pair of bronze sculptures. These sculptures were made by a visual artist called Alan Clark, whose work reflected his worldwide travels. As can be seen with the pair of sculptures, they're influenced by Asian style. These style are done on the Art Deco design of the piece. These sculptures are quite a sight to behold. At auction, this pair of Asian-influenced Art Deco bronze sculptures would be worth
between $8,000 and $12,000.
The guest brought a vase she received as a wedding present from her grandparents. It was from the Roseville Company, specifically from the Fujiyama line, designed by Gazo Fuji, a Japanese artist. Fujiyama was an earlier line than Fuji, dating back to 1905, while Fuji was introduced in 1906. Both lines were stylized and part of the arts and crafts movement, but Fujiyama was considered more valuable. Fujiyama vases were much rarer than Fuji vases, making this piece a unique and special find. The guest's vase had a rare background glaze, making it even more valuable. The appraiser estimated the value of the vase to be
$1,500 to $2,000, but because it's earlier Fujiyama with this rare background glaze, we're talking $2,500 to $3,500. And if you're putting an insurance value on that, I'd put $4,000. Okay.
The guest bought a map he received from his grandmother, who had owned it since the 1950s. Its title was hard to translate, but the appraiser translated it as New World Play. It was a Baroque masterpiece with an unusual equidistant polar azimuthal projection, making it a very rare collectible. The map featured a unique design with the 4 continents depicted in a garden together. The map was a second edition, printed in 1700 by Cornelius Dankerts, a Dutch geographer and engraver. The map featured beautiful design elements, including the 24 hours of the day and the months of the year. It also featured geographical details like New Netherlands, now New York, and California depicted as an island. The map's original coloring, possibly done by the mapmaker or artist, featured lapis lazuli blues, making it even more valuable. Due to the map's historic and cartographic significance, it was appraised at
$10,000 to $12,000.
Okay. Wow, that's wonderful.
The guest uncle purchased this snuff box for $168 from an antique store in Chicago in the 1960s and later gifted it to the guest. The appraiser identified it as a papier-mâché hand-painted Russian lacquer box manufactured in 1840. It featured a hand-painted faux tortoiseshell interior and bore the signature of the Russian company Lakuten Factory at the top, embellished with an imperial eagle motif. Additionally, the piece boasted an unusual multicolored checkered box design, with a Turkish painting adorning the front of the box. The appraiser disclosed that this box had been gifted to Catherine the Great by a Turkish sultan. To the guest's surprise, the appraiser estimated this piece to be
$20,000.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's amazing.
Gifted to the guest's father as a token of appreciation, this sculpture holds significant sentimental value. Jean-Léon Gérôme, a French painter and sculptor known for his academicism, created this brilliant piece. By 1880, his works were so widely reproduced that he was arguably the world's most famous living artist. This sculpture is titled Napoleon Entering Cairo, commemorating Napoleon's conquest of Cairo in the late 18th century. It was created about a century after the event to honor the victory. This piece is a reproduction of the original larger sculpture, showcasing the artist's attention to detail. It is estimated to be worth
Between $8,000 and $10,000.
Very good.
This guest brought to the show a circa 1863 Civil War cannon projectile. This piece is known as an archer's shell due to its unique fuse hole, which forms part of its firing mechanism. The cannon projected shell is made of cast iron and was mounted on a lead sabot, which facilitated its explosion from the rifle cannon. The shell is still in very good condition, with the lead sabot intact. The condition of the shell indicates that it was never been fired. This is a historical piece that remains intact despite the number of years. This item is valued at approximately $1,500 retail.
Okay.
The guest inherited this masterpiece, a KPM porcelain clock, from her grandmother. It was made in 1890. The guest has childhood memories of hearing the clock chime and seeing it on her great-great-aunt's mantelpiece. It has 3 separate parts: the top, the central clock, and the base. One manufacturer would have crafted the porcelain, while a different one would have made the clock. Its look is German, and its quality is spectacular in terms of detailing, modeling, and paint. Its top can be lifted off, and we can see the red mark of KPM on the underside. It is the mark of Royal Berlin, a spectacular porcelain factory located in Berlin. It features Kronos, the Greek god of time, on top, wonderful female sphinxes on the side, and a cherub at the bottom. It was likely an exhibition piece, perhaps shipped to the U.S. for display in an exhibition. The clock is manufactured by the Lenschkert Company. The clock is wonderful. It's an impressive piece, but its value could increase by repairing damages and fixing the clock, costing $3,000 to $4,000. Being the most expensive clock of its time, its value would be
between $25,000 and $35,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, that's amazing. Thank you.
The guest brought a bag her great-grandfather, a lieutenant in the Army, received from a Cherokee Native American warrior in 1846. The bag was made by a Cherokee woman for her husband to be worn around the shoulders with a pouch for carrying tools. The pouch still contained a plug of tobacco, and the bag's designs were floral and herbal. The bag was significant due to its connection to the Cherokee Nation and the forced relocation of the Cherokee people in the 1830s. The bag's condition was rough, but could be restored, and its colors reflected superior craftsmanship. The bag was accompanied by a document signed by the guest's great-grandfather. The document significantly increased the bag's value, making it worth
$25,000.
Oh my goodness.
However, the bag and the document together, I think, would have a value of about $100,000.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
That's a great deal of money.
Collection of Chinese glazed vases. These vases were purchased by this guest while he was in Atlanta.
And he calls us domestic, and I like domestic Chinese better than I do export.
2 of these pieces were made in the 19th century. Looking at the bottom of one of these items, we can see that the base has been ground off, a technique common at the time. And at auction, these two elegantly crafted vases would be valued at
$2,500 a piece.
Another vase is larger than the others, and the glaze covers the entire body, stopping just at the base in a more refined way compared to the other vases.
You noticed also, if you would actually touch that foot rim of the piece, it's as smooth as talc.
This particular vase was made in early 18th century China. Additionally, the glaze implemented on this vase is called crushed strawberry glaze. For a vase crafted in bygone era, it still retains its allure and artistry of the era it was made, placing its value at auction at
between $8,000 to $10,000.
This young man purchased a Yoruba Orisha Oko shaft and beaded sheath at a New York gallery 35 years ago for $7,500. The appraiser praised the object, considering it one of the finest and most elaborate examples of its kind. Explaining its cultural significance, the appraiser highlighted that Orisha Oko is a Yoruba deity associated with fertility and crop protection. The iconography, including references to other Yoruba gods, suggested the owner's importance. The exceptional condition of the piece was emphasized, placing its creation around the first quarter of the 20th century. Despite the current market conditions, the appraiser estimated its auction value at $10,000 to $15,000. But the price could be higher when presented in a gallery.
I feel confident that a gallery would ask $20,000 to $30,000 for this. That's not bad. It's not bad.
We have on the show today a collection of Rookwood pottery. They were brought on the show by a guest who collected them as a hobby. These collections were produced by the Rookwood Pottery Company. The first item, which happens to be the largest displayed, features rings at its neck region and beautiful embossed decoration. At the base, we can see the Rookwood mark. This piece is estimated to be worth
$200 to $300.
The second piece in this collection is an early standard brown glazed piece adorned with a floral design with the artist's signature and date visible at the bottom. At auction, it would be valued at
about $350 to $450.
Another item displayed is pottery with the artist's signature on its base, called the painted mat, adorned with berries and mistletoe decoration. In this good condition, it would fetch an auction value of
$2,500 to $3,500 and maybe as much as $3,000 to $4,000. It's that lovely.
This woman presented a World War II item. It is a box from China that belonged to her late husband. On the cover of this box is a picture of a gentleman, Sun Yat-sen, known as the forerunner of revolution for the People's Republic of China. This piece is a commemorative simple box made out of coppery brass. It was made in 1925 to commemorate the life of this gentleman after his death that same year. The Chinese commemorative box, with a little backstory attached, would sell for
$1,000 to $1,500 at auction.
Okay, well, thank you.
The guest acquired this Confederate spur at an auction alongside two other spurs for $200, noticing the CS initials on it, indicating its Confederate origin. The spur is from Memphis, Tennessee. Its authenticity is confirmed by the unique manufacturing process. Ease flat and then hand-hammered to shape, leaving distinctive hammer marks on the sides. The spur was made using a sand mold, leaving a grainy residue on the metal, visible on the inside of the strap loop, along with file marks from hand-filing burrs. These characteristics indicate crisp edges and file marks, distinguish it from reproductions made in wax molds, which lack such details. In excellent condition, this non-excavated spur could fetch between $3,500 and $4,000 in a retail setting, a testament to its rarity and historical significance.
Wow. It's a beautiful spur. Man.
The guest, a former child's librarian, initiated a program 45 years ago where children wrote to famous authors. The letters in the archive were written in late 1972 and early 1973, not long after the publication of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The letters contain Dahl's trademark's biting humor and personal touch, including an extra poem about Miranda Mary Piker, a character removed from later editions of the book. Dahl removed several characters from the story at the publisher's request to shorten the book. The archive includes variations of the Mary Piker poem, one of which was eventually published in the London Times in 2005. The appraiser values this archive at an estimated $2,500 to $3,500 at auction, reflecting its historical significance and Dahl's enduring popularity.
Whoa!
Pursuing an antique store alongside their mother, the guests stumbled upon a rare collapsible globe crafted by John Betts, with origins dating back to approximately 1852.
And it is a collapsible or expandable globe.
Despite its simplistic geographical features, its undeniable charm adds significant value to the piece. The inclusion of Nevada and Colorado established in 1861, but the absence of Arizona suggests it was likely manufactured around Betts' passing in 1863, enhanced by its pristine original box. And most importantly, this globe could command a price range of $1,500 to $1,800 in retail settings, underscoring its enduring appeal to collectors worldwide and its notable place in historical cartography.
Great!
This shoe is not your ordinary shoe. The person who brought in the shoe told a cool story about it. They said their grandma wore it to a baseball game when she was little. At the game, famous players Babe Ruth and Louis Gehrig signed the shoe. The signatures faded because her grandma wore the shoe a lot, but they have a newspaper article and a photo to prove it happened.
And both of them said, I've signed both baseballs and bats, but I've never had anything like this before.
The person checked the shoe, liked the story, and said it was hard to put a price on it because it was so special. Most importantly, its value could be worth $500 to $700, but said the memories it holds are priceless.
Have something like this in your family to enjoy? Now, I know we have a picture here, correct?
Right.
The guest inherited this sapphire and diamond ring from her mother, who bought it in the early 50s from Louisiana for $1,000.
This ring, it's an American ring set with sapphire and diamonds in at least 14 karat gold with platinum tops around the diamonds.
The ring is a large sapphire. The sapphire, approximately 12.25 carats, is unheated as evidenced by its silkiness. European cut diamonds total around 6 to 6.5 carats in weight. Since 2011, sapphires have experienced a remarkable uptick in the market. Its value at an auction would be $30,000 to $40,000.
Oh my, how exciting.
The guest came with the 1788 New York Daily Advertiser. She got it from her family. This is from Tuesday, July 22nd, 1788. New York paper, the date's right up there. It's the Daily Advertiser. It's a wonderful rag paper. But what I particularly liked about this paper, this is the Constitution, with some holes in them. And that does affect the value, but most of the text is intact. Appraised for $2,500 to $3,500.
Typically, the things in my family were passed down from oldest son to oldest son.
The guest brought Philadelphia chest-on-chest furniture to the show. Her family inherited from their grandmother. It was originally in a family known as Marcoux. This furniture represents soldiers' resourcefulness and adaptability in wartime. Developed by craftsmen during the American Revolutionary War. It has Rococo Revival ornament on the top. The unique features of the furniture are the AOK attached to each drawer, quality wood material used, and the craftsmanship. One of the drawers was signed by Thomas Savage. The appraiser valued the furniture to be
$4,000 to $6,000 chest on chest. As a Philadelphia example, with the family history that you have and all those connections at auction, I think you could add a zero, and I think it's more like $40,000 to $60,000.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I had no idea.
She discovered a collection of documents signed by Robert E. Lee while cleaning out their late father's apartment. The documents, dating back to the 1840s, were from Lee's time in the United States Army when he served in the Engineering Corps. The appraiser noted the rarity of pre-Civil War documents signed by Lee. The owner mentioned a previous valuation of about $800 for the entire collection, but the appraiser provided a more significant estimate. Each document was valued at $2,000 to $3,000 apiece.
For the whole collection, I would be surprised. Oh my gosh.
Showcased today is a breathtaking collection of creations by Walter Inglis Anderson, who is a prestigious American painter and writer. This collection features 3 exceptional pieces, 2 remarkable drawings, and a stunning porcelain bowl. Our guest inherited the first piece from her father, acquired the second from her nephew, and received the porcelain bowl as a birthday gift from her father. This exquisite porcelain bowl is in superb condition, with an estimated auction value of
He would estimate it around about $4,000 to $6,000.
Furthermore, this captivating crab depiction is in flawless condition, with an estimated auction value of
Probably again around about $4,000 to $6,000.
Well, that's shocking.
Yeah.
Finally, this lovely pelican artwork exhibits some minor flaws, such as fading and staining, affecting its auction estimate to
And I would suggest for auction an estimate of $8,000 to $12,000.
You are a goofy guy.
Thank you.
My wife
wife's not going to believe that, but she's out there somewhere watching. That's okay. I'll have to tell her.
The guest brought pre-contact Eskimo's walrus Adzi Handel to the show. He inherited it from his wife's aunt. The pre-contact Eskimo walrus Adz Handel is a tool used for carving wood. It is made from walrus ivory and was carved using stone tools. The handle is decorated with abstract designs, which may have spiritual significance. This tool was used by the Eskimo people who lived in Alaska and Canada before contact with Europeans. The walrus Adzi Handel provides insight into the culture and lifestyle of the Eskimo people. The walrus Adzi Handel is both a beautiful work of art. It has extraordinary inland circles, and they're on all sides. Also has an axe head at the end of it. The appraiser values it to be
between $30,000 and $50,000.
My wife's not going to believe that, but she's out there somewhere watching. That's okay. I'll have to tell her.
Take a look at this incredible sketch done by renowned sculptor Rodin for his sculptures. Rodin was known for his famous sculptures like The Kiss, The Thinker, but he was known for doing many of these drawings as well.
These kind of drawings that I've seen tend to be not by Rodin. I picked this one out today because I think there is a reasonable shot that it's right.
The signature is certainly very assured, and the line appears very fluid. It's a mixture of graphite and watercolor, which is associated with Rodin. At auction, it's estimated to sell for
$8,000 to $12,000. If it subsequently turned out, in fact, that this was not by Rodin, the value would really be next to nothing.
A look at some of the furniture presented today might have one questioning oneself. The furniture is crafted in such a unique way that it's eye-catching and pleasing to look at. These furniture pieces were made by a master woodworker and furniture maker called Art Espinay Carpenter. Espinay was known for his wishbone chair and desk with scalloped seashell sides. One of the pieces of furniture presented is a music stand and is so beautiful with its purple color.
Music stands are loved by furniture designer and makers because they're so sculptural and there's so much you can do.
Another piece, a chest, has pixel glass as part of its design to imitate raindrops. And then there is the chair with its unique make that makes one wonder about the complexities of its craftsmanship. These pieces of furniture, each of which is a blend of 20th century structure and modern designs, would individually be worth
$10,000 to $12,000 range.
The rich tapestry of Native American culture is represented by this collection of items. Our guest has had these items in his family since his great-great-grandfather, who acquired them during the Battle of Wounded Knee. Included in the collection is a doll originating from the Apache tribe in Arizona. The hide on the piece is made of tanned deer hide, while the beads on the head are from Europe. Tin cones adorn the piece, which were repurposed from tin cans. This piece of cultural heritage is estimated to be worth.
The Apache doll, on a retail basis, I believe would sell for about $5,500.
Secondly, we have moccasins that date back to 1850, originating from Delaware in Oklahoma. Featured on the item are glass beads of European origin. Furthermore, the piece is made from silk, with beautiful floral designs adorning it. At auction, this pair of moccasins, in such pristine condition, would be valued at,
I think on a retail basis, these would sell for about $6,500.
Wow, okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's sweet.
Yeah.
This glass vase at first doesn't look like a vase, and that's why it's so distinct and unique.
Probably picked this up in Europe, and maybe when he actually went back with his wife.
This vase was made in 1930 by a company called Murano Venini.
Paolo Venini started the Venini Glassworks around 1921. The island of Murano, it's a very well-established glassmaking area.
And one of the confirming attributes is the sheer expertise used to craft the vase. It was crafted by Carlos Scarpa. This Murano vase is a perfect example of a classic vase, and these kinds of vases were in vogue in the early to mid-20th century. Given its distinct color and shine, today this vase would auction at...
Good auction estimate would be $15,000 to $20,000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
This simple dress looks absolutely stunning. It's a dress made by one of America's most famous fashion designers, Jeffrey Bean. Bean was one of New York's most famous fashion designers, recognized for his artistic and technical skills. The dress has nice wide cuffs and wonderful collars and was made in the 1970s. A classic, elegant dress made with silk, this dress is surely typical of Bean's innovative designs that blend simplicity with elegance.
But it's a beautiful silhouette, it's a beautiful color.
Although this dress has some minor conditional issues, the fact that it's from one of America's most loved fashion designers would make it worth
$350. Oh, wow.
This piece was gifted to the guest from her grandmother when she was younger. It was a piece from school and part of a collection of Missouri German ceramics. The appraiser revealed that many German families shifted to the USA and started their own ceramic outlets between 1835 and 1890. This piece may be identical to the Missouri State Historical Society's collection, but it was produced by the Jaglin Pottery in Boonville and dates back to the 1880s. It was a snake jug crafted by Jaglin, who initially served in the Union Army before establishing his own pottery line. This jug featured 3 exquisitely carved snakes, each adorned with unique carvings, with one snake forming the handle of the jug. The appraiser estimated this exquisite piece to be valued at
$4,000 to $6,000.
No way.
Way.
That's great.
The guest came with the Will and Fink Bowie knife. He got it from his grandfather. It's the first Will and Fink knife to come on the show. Will and Fink began manufacturing knives in 1863. Notice this clasp that holds it onto your belt. It's marked Will and Fink SF Cal on both sides. The best feature is its beautiful grips. Condition-wise, it's excellent. It's got a little bit of deterioration. Appraised for $30,000.
That's great.
This guest brought these French pottery pieces to the show. These pieces were obtained by Remy de Huyn, who drove into a shipwreck and retrieved these beautiful French pottery pieces and other items. These pottery pieces are made from earthenware and are mostly porous in nature. One of the beautiful pieces among these pottery pieces is the one with Chinese origin that was popularly called a beaker. The expansion of the beaker into European culture and pottery making started around the 17th and 18th centuries. The incredible thing about these pieces is that they are from a shipwreck. It's quite interesting to note that there's a lot of history to be unearthed from these pottery pieces. However, these pottery pieces have a cumulative value of $100 to $150.
Wow, really?
Really.
A family heirloom that has served the family for years is brought to the show.
How old are your kids?
36, 35, 34, and 27.
And they all played on this guitar?
Yes.
This is a guitar from the Martin Company, made back in 1845. The collaboration between Martin and John Koopa produced this piece. This old guitar features a spruce top and an ebony fingerboard, along with a black painted peg head. A view from the back of the guitar shows its Brazilian rosewood, also on the sides. Despite its old age, this guitar remains in excellent condition, featuring a fancy Stauffer headstock, and would conservatively cost
$8,000 and $10,000.
Wow, really?
Really.
What look like 3 normal Chinese vases are actually worth a lot. Among the 3, there's one that is a basic Chinese vase, another that's better and worth more than the basic, and finally, one that is the best, worth and more than the basic and better combined. Even though they all possess beautiful patterns, a few distinct features make each one worth more than the others.
This one? The cheapest one, the basic one.
Basic
okay.
one.
Which do you think is which?
I think perhaps this one, about 50 quid, something like that.
Okay, so that's the basic one.
Looking at each vase, which one of these 3 do you think is basic, better, and best? The guest purchased this beautiful parrot sculpture for $50 from a consignment shop in Philadelphia. The appraiser identified the sculpture as an Italian piece made in the early 20th century. Made as part of the Italian tradition, this particular sculpture was crafted from earthenware and coated in maiolica. The appraiser explained that maiolica turns white when it oxidizes, giving it the appearance of porcelain. He also mentioned a few spots where the maiolica ware was missing, revealing the brown earthenware underneath. The date of manufacturing and the artist were unknown, but this didn't significantly impact its value, as the piece was intended for decorative purposes and would appeal to any art lover. The appraiser estimated this majestic sculpture to be valued at
$2,000, and I don't think that would be unreasonable.
No, that's great.
Imagine coming across a diploma certificate that's been tagged a piece of junk, but on this diploma, there's a very important signature on it. The signature is from one of the most powerful men in the history of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Eisenhower served as the 34th President of the United States from 1953 to 1961. This particular signature was from before Eisenhower became President of the United States and was actually from when he was still just President of Columbia University.
Say that it wasn't a particularly successful presidency. Even the Columbia University website said that he was not the most engaged of presidents.
Typical of Eisenhower's signature, we can see a distinctive emphasis on the D and E of his name. This diploma, although almost deemed a piece of junk, bears the signature of one of the most iconic U.S. presidents, and as such, would be worth
$700 to $900.
Oh my goodness.
So not bad for $3.
Not bad at
well
all.
Done.
The guest came with the main pine blanket chest. He inherited it as he went into the Navy. The butt hinges, the way the lock is installed, the other fasteners tell. It is made around the time of the third quarter of the 19th century. These wonderfully painted red and green rope handles. Carving underneath here almost looks like wingtips. Appraised for $1,500 to $2,500.
Oh boy.
Really? Wow. People in Powder River County are rich and don't know it.
This beautiful wooden carving was made by a German artist named Ed Green, who gifted it to the guest father. The appraiser praised this beautiful piece of folk art, noting how perfectly it was carved. The guest shared an interesting story about the artist, mentioning that he didn't like women at all and would sweep his floor if any woman walked on it. This carving depicted beautifully carved bison and mule deer, animals native to the area. To the guest's surprise, the appraiser estimated the value of this art piece to be
$5,000 to $7,000. Really? Wow. People in Powder River County are rich and don't know it.
Civil War flag purchased by the guest about 14 years ago.
We got it at a military antique store in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Tell me what you know about it.
The flag represents a significant part of American history. It was adopted with the admission of Kansas as the 34th state in January 1861 and was used until 1863 when West Virginia became a state. During the American Civil War, the flag was hung from windows and balconies to provide morale support to Confederate soldiers. This flag symbolizes both the bravery of American soldiers and the patriotism of the average citizen. With a historical significance, it attracts a value of
between $7,500 and $10,000.
Oh
it's
my
really
goodness.
A wonderful piece.
The guest brought a stone jug she purchased at a family estate auction in 1995 for $60, but soon sold it to another man for $100. However, her mother advised her to try to get the jug back, and she managed to retrieve it from the buyer. The jug was identified as a rare piece of Edgefield stoneware made by a slave named Dave. Dave was a skilled potter who worked for several potters in Edgefield, and his wares were highly prized. The jug was ash-glazed and alkaline glazed, typical of the Edgefield area. It featured a writing on the side, including the date June 28, 1854, and the initials L.M., Lewis Miles. This rare and remarkable jug, with its distinctive finish, was appraised at
$6,000 today. That was in '93 when that thing sold.
When you hear of vases, you first think they're made from glass, but perhaps the uniqueness of this vase is that it was made from copper. This vase was made in the 1930s by Dirk Van Erp. Van Erp was famous for making lamps and bookends at the time,
and he started working in San Francisco at the Naval Shipyard. And he started making things out of brass shell casings. He would give them away to friends, and he started selling them. And then he set up a shop in Oakland.
And so making this vase made it unique because it was made by the best. To most folks, it looks like a cauldron rather than a vase, but this definitely adds to its charm, appeal, and uniqueness. Given its creator's credibility, this vase in today's market would auction at
$6,000 to $8,000.
The guest brought the pottery pieces she inherited from her family, who had put them on display in the kitchen. The family had mistakenly identified the pieces as Wedgwood. The pieces were identified as North Carolina pottery, specifically made by Walter Stephen. Walter Stephen worked at the Pisgah Pottery from the mid-1920s until his death in 1961. The pieces were all dated 1950, making them a unique and valuable collection. As a group, the pottery pieces were valued at
between $1,000 and $1,500.
The guest was pleased to learn the true origin and value of the pottery, which had been part of her family for so long. This canopic jar on display transports us into the captivating world of ancient Egypt. It formerly belonged to the guest's grandfather, who was an antique dealer.
Don't know the date of the letter. We have the original letter. We didn't bring it with us today.
The jar dates back to 750 to 350 BC and was crafted from limestone. In ancient Egypt, canopic jars like this were made in 4 pieces, each representing the north, west, south, and east. Featured on this jar is a depiction of a baboon's head, symbolizing the north in Egyptian mythology. Canopic jars were integral to the mummification process
and contained the viscera, or the organs in the body, of the person being mummified.
Traces of pigment are visible in the eyes and mouth, yet the jar remains in good condition. At auction, this jar, historically significant to ancient Egypt, would be valued at
about $20,000.
Okay.
Seeing a mask like this at night would give you the spooks, but this Art Deco wall mask made by Clarice Cliff is more than just a flimsy decoration. This mask represents Clarice's expertise at the pinnacle of her design career. It was crafted in 1931 when masks like these were in demand.
They were awful because, because of the bright colours. She thought the colours were so garish, she just didn't like them.
And now, years later, it still maintains its quality. It was modeled after the guest's mother.
That is my mother, in fact. Yes, she was 18 when she modelled this. She went to art college, and her father, my grandfather.
Given that it was crafted by Clarice Cliff, how much do you think it would auction for?
I think £1,000 is a fair price.
Yes.
But how can you put money on those
Not
memories?
at all.
For gun lovers, today's episode is about what they love. A piece presented is a Winchester rifle designed by John Browning. Browning was an American firearm designer who developed many varieties of military and civilian firearms. Although the gun is a Winchester Model 1894, it was actually manufactured in 1896. The features of the gun show that it was custom ordered from the factory.
The way we know that is the gun is half round, half octagonal.
And that it is clearly shown in the half-button magazine. A gun of this quality and make for one of America's foremost firearm makers is sure to be in high demand and would be worth
Of around $2,000 to $3,000.
Ah,
When did you buy it again?
it's been about 2.5 years.
We have a look at this wonderful piece passed down through the guests' generations. The piece is an embroidered vest made with silk and linen and dates as far back as the 18th century. On the vest are designs that are clearly Asian-influenced, which are often seen on furniture and textiles.
We see an influence of chinoiserie. We see chinoiserie examples in furniture, in textiles, and what it really is a continental interpretation of Asian influence.
The influence of these designs is more pronounced at the center of this vest. A vest of this quality with Asian influence and design is surely to be sought after and as such would sell for
$3,000 to $5,000 in the auction market.
This Fayence cat has been in the guest family since the early 50s. She inherited it after her grandmother passed on.
Grandmother, since my childhood, has always said that it would be mine because I loved it as a little kid and I drew pictures of it.
This piece was made by Émile Gallet, a renowned French Art Nouveau artist and glassmaker.
Made pottery, especially this type of pottery.
This item features a white glaze known as faience or tin-glazed earthenware. Although many reproductions exist, they aren't the original ones, and the best way to recognize an original is by the face, which has a Cheshire cat grin. This beautifully colored piece, characteristic of a Gallet cat with its distinctive glaze, would be priced at
$2,500 or $3,000. So nice find and a lovely thing to inherit.
Thank you, and I don't think I'm going to sell it. I think he's going to be with me for a really long time.
The guest purchased the item, a textile, at a garage sale for $5, attracted by the need for another item to place over a chair. Initially thinking it might be Native American, the guests later learned it was from northern Mexico. The textile features a classic saltillo design with a center diamond and white field, using indigo blue and an aniline red rather than cochineal red, which was common in earlier pieces. Despite some condition issues, including holes that had been stabilized with a backing, the appraiser values the piece at $1,000 to $2,000, considering its historical and artistic significance.
It really?
It really is. So I think you did very well.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
These two guests brought these two good-looking carving sets to the show. The purchase ticket that came with the first carving sets indicate that it was purchased around 1904 at the Louisiana Exposition, while the other set was purchased around 1885. The other set has a more extensive item with a smaller carving set and a fish-serving fork. The completeness and rarity attributed to the second one comes it at a jewel for collectors and is valued around $1,200 to $1,500. Although the first set is not as extensive as the second one, it still retains a hefty price and is valued around $800. The guest brought this circa 1965 Beatles record player to the show. The item features a signed picture of the Beatles performing their songs live. What we have here is no ordinary Beatles record player. It also includes high-fidelity Beatles phonograph recordings with the original packaging materials. The model, number 1000 on the packaging, indicates that the item is part of the 1965 Beatles licensing memorabilia. But the record player is still in excellent condition, and the Beatles' signature is still very clear. This item would be worth an estimated value between $2,500 to $3,000.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
This man brought his Ronald Reagan autograph print to the show. The guests received this print as a token of friendship during their time together at the General Electric Theater. The print is an artistic caricature of Ronald Reagan created by him. The lower right corner of the print are Ronald Reagan's witty words attributed to each face as a means of recounting this time with the guest. Considering the influence of great electric theater and Ronald Reagan's humor, this print should be worth more than ordinary Reagan inscribed prints. This piece is estimated to be valued at around $1,000 to $1,500.
The word is priceless.
Absolutely.
When you stare at this beautiful vase, you can't stop yourself from being captivated by its unique charm and history. The family inherited this old vase and treasured it for its uniqueness. They admitted to not cleaning it much out of fear of damaging its special appearance. The piece turned out to be a flower vase and candy dish from the 1800s. They're advised to have it professionally cleaned to enhance its value. It also includes some rare features like swans on the bottom. However, there are some minor scratches evident on it.
The swans on the bottom are extremely rare. Has a little bit of damage around the top, which hurts it a little bit.
With proper cleaning, its value could rise up to a whopping $2,000, much to the family's surprise and delight.
No kidding. Oh, man.
So a nice present.
Yes.
And I do thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm having a blast.
Oh, great.
The guest came with Schlagenwald doll head. She inherited it from her mother. It's a German China head. Very nice portrait face. Very low. Super duper hairdo with this sort of loop in the back. Made by Schlagenwald, a company in Germany. It dates from the late 1840s. Appraised for $2,500 to $3,000. The guest came with the Bay Bridge photo album. She got the album from her father. There's a great mix of prints in this album. These are the commercial photographs with the printing on the negative. Says he's on top of the main tower, Casper, and it has a little arrow drawn. A nice personal story behind the building of Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge was constructed between 1933 and 1936. Appraised for $400 to $600. This is a stainless steel prime rib table service cart. The guest purchased it a couple of years ago from the John Ascuaga's warehouse auction.
Which was mainly just surplus equipment. John Ascuaga came to town in the early 50s and started with a restaurant with maybe a couple slot machines, I'm not sure. He's the last of the original 50s era casino operators that still is alive and operating his own casino.
It has sterno heat in it, and it keeps your prime rib sizzling, and it served the prime rib at the table. He originally used this when he first opened up in Sparks in the early 50s. There's some debate about whether or not they were made in Europe or whether they were made in the United States. This seems to be a really unusual cart in the metal. The form is just wonderful. Now, a piece like this at auction would probably bring
between $6,000 and $8,000.
It drew a lot of attention on the way in.
It certainly did.
Ever seen a Long Quan Celadon dish before? It was used to repay a loan, which was owed to the guest's father.
He loaned some money to a friend, and sometime later, the friend came back and said, I could not afford to pay you back, but just take this dish. So my father took it home, and give it to my grandfather.
It's from the Ming Dynasty, probably made in the 15th century. Now, celadon is a glaze that's made out of iron oxide as a colorant fired in a reducing atmosphere. And it's one of the most popular glazes in China. This was a highly prized glaze used on pottery and porcelain, both for imperial use and for domestic use. This is a molded decoration with some hand carving and a beautiful example of its type. At auction today, this would be worth
$5,000 and $8,000 at auction.
Amazing.
Oh.
This wonderful piece is one like you've never seen before. This is a Danish silver ewer. It was made in Copenhagen, 1865. If cleaned up, this piece would be a lot more eye-catching. At auction, it would sell for
$1,500.
Have you ever been invited for an execution before? Well, step right up because we have got here an invitation to an execution, a hanging. It's a fascinating example of Western frontier justice. Public executions were a way of administering justice.
We're a way of administering justice and making everyone around you know that, hey, if you're going to commit a crime, this is what may happen to you.
At auction, this piece is worth $1,500 to $2,000.
This landscape painting showcased offers more than just aesthetic pleasure. The painting was acquired by our guest when he attended a summer art session hosted by the maker of the piece, Birger Sansen. Sansen was a Swedish painter best known for his landscapes.
But he really preferred to paint a realistic view of the American landscape because he felt that that's what people could really relate to.
It was created in Colorado and is signed and dated 1937 in the lower right corner. Additionally, on the reverse of this item, we can see it is titled Mountain Stream, Big Thompson Canyon in Estes Park. The painting features a thick layer of impasto over the entire surface and depicts some trees, rocks, and a beautiful sky. With its skillfully colored details, we can expect this painting to be valued at.
I think at auction this might bring as much as $30,000 to $50,000.
No, I was thinking in the hundreds maybe, but thousands, no.
19th century Nathaniel Currier print, a true treasure, bought for $1, is now worth a king's measure. In Hartford, Connecticut, an office was clearing out old items. One item purchased for $1 turned out to be a valuable find. The print was marked by N. Currier, revealing it to be by Nathaniel Currier. He founded Currier & Ives, the renowned 19th century American printmaking firm. Known for producing over 7,000 different images, Currier & Ives prints are often mistaken for reproductions. This is especially true for those tied to insurance companies. Confirmed authentic by its size and examination, this lithograph is unique. It was identified as an original, notably framed in a 19th century frame, referencing a collector's guide. The print titled Life of a Fireman was authenticated. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
in this kind of condition, about $3,000 to $4,000. So that was a pretty good purchase. The insurance company.
A beautiful pear-point puffy lamp takes center stage in today's episode. Inherited by the guest from his grandmother, this exquisite lamp boasts a rich family history. Crafted by Pear-Point, a renowned company from New Bedford, Massachusetts, this lamp dates back to circa 1920. The Stratford shade features a frosted exterior and a reverse-painted interior.
This shade is made in a mold. It's mold blown. Oh. And you don't usually see any mold lines on the shade because they actually fire polished those out.
Showcasing pansies, roses, daisies, and dogwoods. Known for its gentle and comforting glow, the puffy lamp remains a cherished piece. Despite its worn base, which affects its value, the lamp still stands as a testament to Pear-Point's craftsmanship. In its current condition, at a retail shop, this charming lamp would fetch.
It would sell for around $1,500.
This painting, a family heirloom inherited by our guest from his grandmother, is the work of French artist Jean-Joseph Benjamin Constant. Benjamin Constant was a French painter and etcher best known for his Oriental subjects and portraits. He was also one of the founders of the Société des Peintres Orientalistes Français. The painting showcases his bold brushwork and meticulous attention to detail and is based on the Alhambra, the Moorish fortress in Spain. Preserved in good condition, the painting requires a bit of refurbishment to bring out its vibrant colors.
What would hold this back is it's a little bit dark down in here. A little brighter would help. Cleaning it would help too. This is supposed to be white. It's a little bit dirty.
After restoration, its auction price can be valued at
$40,000 to $60,000 for a painting like this. It's a very, very good example of French Orientalist art of the period.
We had no idea, so that's very surprising.
The dumpster by the guest's brother-in-law.
Tufts State University in 1927. My auntie, who was going to school there at that time, bought it from him.
And it has an inscription on the back.
It belonged to a furniture company that was going out of business. Dating back to the early 20th century, it is a self-framed advertising sign for the Rizla Company. Rizla is a French brand of rolling papers used to roll tobacco and marijuana into joints and cigarettes. The sign features a beautiful image of a young woman, making it very attractive. Although the print suffered some water damage, the actual image wasn't affected, and this piece is worth about
$30,000 and $50,000.
Oh my goodness!
If you're going to insure it, I would say somewhere in the area of $60,000 or $65,000 would be appropriate.
Oh my goodness! I better find a good insurance man.
Yes, I think you better.